mind and body, breath and belief. Healing starts deeper than what you can see. Victoria Kennedy, guiding the way, where spirit and science meet every day. Real talk, real tools, helping you align. Welcome to the space where the body meets mind.
Hi everyone, I'm Victoria Kennedy, medium clairvoyant from Los Angeles, California. Thank you for being here for another episode of Spiritually Influenced. Last week, we talked about mind control and the response was so powerful. So many of you reached out through social media and thoughtful questions, and I'm grateful I could connect with you and dive deeper. If you want to find me online, head to vkennedy.com, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see all my social links there. All right, let's get into this. Today, I want to expand on something I call psychic coercion. So we're basically going to expand a little bit deeper into what we did last week. And before we go any further, this is not about attacking psychics in any way. Like in any profession, there are ethical practitioners and there are people who misuse influence. The issue isn't the label, but rather the behavior. And you don't need to identify as psychic to be able to manipulate someone's mind. Psychic coercion. In modern terms, it's psychological influence that basically overrides someone's free will. It is when another person attempts to steer your thoughts, your emotions, or your decisions in a direction that does not truly align with you. Now, this can happen intentionally or unintentionally. The person influenced may be fully aware of what they are doing, or sometimes they have no idea and they are completely unaware. The person on the receiving end may sense, hey, something's not right, something's off, or may absorb it without even realizing it. Those who have a strong sense of clear boundaries and inner directions are less vulnerable. But come on, we got to be honest here. Anyone can influence anyone during moments of stress, heartbreak, fear, or even uncertainty. That is when discernment matters the most. One major form of influencing is visual conditioning. Think about movies, television, social media, and advertising. These industries understand the human psychologically extremely well. We have subliminal marketing, which is not science fiction. It's hidden messages designed to bypass the conscious mind and land into the subconscious. Our mind absorbs so much more than we can even imagine. But psychic coercion can also happen in personal spiritual sessions. Let me share a quick little story with you. My wife, she's a private investigator. She's sharp, she's observant, and incredibly non-confrontational. People tend to open up to her easily because she does not present as threatening. I remember once she was working a case involving a psychic. And unfortunately, I don't remember every detail, but all I recall that it involved a marriage that had fallen apart. And because I am so nosy and I felt, hey, this is going to be so much fun, I said, I will do it for you. So I did, and I decided to do my own little experiment. So I went to the psychic. She was kind of in the Artesia, Cerritos area, and there was this large sign outside of her house advertising her services. The front door was open, and she invited me in, and immediately I literally felt like I was in a time capsule. There was velvet curtains, a bright yellow couch, could not be any brighter, that I was almost afraid to sit on it. And this crystal ball, the size of a bowling ball, sitting dramatically in the center of the room. I told her my marriage was on the brink of divorce, that my spouse was cheating. I fully committed to the performance, and let me tell you, I probably could have won an Academy Award for this. I became so emotional. She said my husband just needed time and he would come back. But if you all know me, there is no husband. I remember I just asked, well, what about the truck? And then she said, well, he'll be buying you one soon. Well, there is no truck, and there was never a truck. Then that's when the upsell began. She told me my aura was black and that I needed an ancestral clearing. But wait, it gets even better. The price was $3,000. She also promised I would be coming into this large sum of money. And years later, I'm still waiting for the money and the truck. Now, here's the important part of this. If I had truly been in emotional crisis, if I had been vulnerable and desperate for reassurance, I could have believed every single word. That is how coercion works. It finds the crack in your foundation and it will try to widen it. There's also something I call emotional persuasion. This is when people strongly advise you to act or think a certain way, often loaded with emotion. Sometimes it comes from people who genuinely love you, such as family, partners, close friends, and they may believe they know what is truly best for you. See, when it comes to advice, it has to be healthy advice so it empowers you to decide. Coercive advice will only pressure you to comply, to make those fast, rapid decisions where you, a day later, come back and say, what was I thinking? Maintaining your autonomy requires you to be objective. And it's okay to pause, to reflect, to meditate, so that way you can make those decisions from clarity and not from someone else's urgency. It's okay to take that step back and say, wait, I need a minute. There is nothing wrong with that. Then, and yes, there's a then there is mental suggestion. This can come from a parent saying, I know you want to do this, but a partner says, I know you would never leave me. And these are statements that can slip past your conscious awareness and lodge itself deeply into the subconscious mind, especially if someone is so emotionally opened or emotionally wounded. Mental suggestion can also happen energetically. And this is where we must be mindful of the thoughts and narratives we allow into our inner space. When you are grounded in your higher self, your inner awareness, your I am presence, you're less likely to internalize these narratives that are not yours. There is research that suggests people in comas can sometimes process auditory input, even if they're under anesthesia or even during sleep. See, the mind can remain receptive at certain levels. That is why words matter. Conversations around someone in a vulnerable state should be handled with the utmost care. Suggestion does not require full waking consciousness to have full impact. And it's so very true. Words do matter. It's the energy behind those words. You want people who are going to be around you to uplift you, to push you to do better, to be the ones that say, oh, I can't do this, I don't know how. No, you can. You will find the way. Go, go, go. Those are the people. Those are the messages that you want in your life. You want that positivity. And lastly, we have emotional appeal. This is influenced through guilt, through fear, through obligation, or even sympathy. It can sound like, if you loved me, you would, or you are responsible for my happiness. Over time, emotional manipulation can create deep psychological conditioning. You often see this pattern in long-term abusive dynamics, whether in families, friendships, or even romantic relationships. And it's so sad when you see this, having an emotional appeal through guilt or through fear. It is so sad to see how they are drumming to somebody else's drum. I mean, think about it. If you love me, you would go rob that bank because I need money. If you don't go rob this bank, then I'm not going to have any money. I'm not going to eat, and I'm going to end up dying. Well, girl, you better go rob your own damn bank because I'm not about to do that, and you need to feed your own self. Remember, you are not responsible for absolutely no one. The only person who you're responsible for is yourself and your children if you do have kids. But I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm saying here. A lot of times, setting boundaries, the person will feel selfish. You're not being selfish, you are just practicing psychological hygiene. You, and I mean you listening to this, you have a purpose, you have a path, an internal compass, and maintaining your relationship with God, or however you define your higher source, it helps anchor you in your identity. When you know who you are, without a doubt, influence has less room to distort you. Thank you for spending this time with me. Again, if you would like to connect, visit vkennedy.com and explore my social platforms through the links there. So again, thank you so much. Until our next episode of Spiritually Influenced, stay well, stay blessed, and stay grounded.
Carry the wisdom, take it inside. Every small step is part of the climb. Honor the journey, trust what you find. The answers live where truth aligns.